Woohoo! Talk about being excited, Didi. We have got, we love queens, and we have got like Suebelle, the Queen of Palm Beach, Florida, US of A, who's joined us at our back fronts here in Sydney. And she is the Queen of Style. She's fabulous in fashion. She's got the unforgettable flair, the amazing iconic hair. She's the Queen of parties, travel, design, living life in full colour. She is fun. She's super popular globally. And we are thrilled that the Palm Beach Queens, because I think that's what they call us, we share a back fence, Suebelle.
I love it.
And so the Palm Beach
From
Queens.
one end of the world to the other.
We all unite. So welcome, and we're thrilled to have you here.
Yay.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I've been looking forward to this.
It's funny, I look at you, Suebelle, and I think of the song Glamorous, Glamorous.
Yes, that's true.
It's
Di
just-
likes, she's a bit of a singer, Di, so at any stage she will drop into
Watch
a
out.
song.
It's interesting, I was driving into the studio this morning and I'm thinking of you. And for some reason, I was thinking of Jerry Hall. And I was thinking,
Oh, I love him.
yeah, Texas makes bloody
girl.
amazing women, Suebelle. Big life, big hair. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know about you.
Well, I was born in upstate New York, but I grew up in Texas, and it made quite the impression on me, as you can see by my hair. And my
Loving
makeup.
the hair.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And then I had a great career. I graduated from the University of Texas. It was a Longhorns, hook 'em horns. It's a big, football is very important there, which is one of the reasons why I left Texas. I don't care for sports too much at all, except for dating.
Yeah.
And then
We've
I
had
went
a few
from
texts and met, haven't we, Didi?
Austin to Boston. I went
Boston.
from Austin, Texas to Boston, Massachusetts, and I was looking for a job to teach, and there were like no teaching jobs. It was a very funny time. It was 1970, so I did get a job in a little Catholic school called St. Agnes, and it was only like $86 a week. So I met a friend, and she was a PlayBoy Bunny, and she introduced me to the manager. So I became a PlayBoy Bunny 2 or 3 nights a week. So I was Bunny Courtney, and
Bunny Courtney.
I did Bunny Dip. I had a hot pink satin outfit. It was very attractive. And at Christmas, they had me selling keys, and we had a red satin with marabou fur. I loved it. And it was just a great time, and I'd never seen black bunnies or oriental bunnies. It was quite a little change. And then I went straight for a summer job into the travel business, where I took big groups of people to Switzerland, Hawaii.
I couldn't think of a better tour leader than you.
I know.
Seriously.
Suebelle and
Puerto
the
Rico.
bunny.
And when I was standing in the balcony in Honolulu, there was this very attractive man, and I waved to him. He was wearing a suit. I hadn't seen a suit in 2 or 3 months. And he was with the newspaper, and they were doing a joint venture with the Honolulu newspaper. And it was, the company was Gannett, USA Today. So I waved hello. I always said I was Romeo and he was Juliet. And he was newly divorced with a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, instant family. So I went to visit him, and 8 months later we got married. And he was the general counsel for this newspaper firm, media company. He was their first in-house lawyer. And so we got married in the judge's office on New Year's Eve. I was a tax deduction, and he went back to work that day. So I should have maybe really known something.
Went straight back to work. There you go. Wasn't the big romance?
But I was a corporate wife for 10 years, and I lived in a beautiful town, Rochester, New York.
I love it.
Oh,
It was lovely.
Beautiful.
And I was on a Gulfstream jet like every other week.
Of course.
Because he did mergers and acquisitions. And it was great, except he wasn't too great. You know, he didn't have much of a sense of humor. And
It's everything.
like he would say to me, why must you always have fun? Or we were going to go
Okay,
on,
red flag,
okay.
triple red flag.
That's right.
Quadruple.
what if it rains? You know, so
That's
I
our
got- we had
language. That's our language.
F-U-N.
Yes.
F-U-n.
no negative.
No.
So we had a nice little divorce, and I moved.
Good
back
payout,
to Boston.
Suebelle. You would have earned it. Would have been a good payout, I hope.
Yeah, early retirement.
Early retirement.
So
Well
I
deserved.
went back to Boston, and I had a great time. Had friends, and I lived right in the heart of Boston. And again, I if you have a teaching degree, you can pick up and be a substitute teacher anytime. So I did that for a while. But then my sister sold Pringle cashmere sweaters.
Beautiful.
And Talbot's, was a big chain, was one of her big accounts. And they knew me and they said, does your sister want to model? So I had done some country club modeling, a little, you know, and so I started modeling, being a style model, which was so great. All you did was try on clothes all day long. There was a tray of shoes, a tray of jewelry, a tray of purses. Oh, I loved it.
And you're
I had
saying
so
they're
much
paying me for this? Seriously.
Well, they treated me like Cindy Crawford. They were so
love it.
adorable.
Oh.
And then one day I met my darling husband, Richard, and we started going out, and it was great. I had a wonderful time in Boston. We got a small apartment in a beautiful mansion in Newport. They called them cottages, but they were huge mansions.
Yeah.
And so we would go to Newport every weekend. It was only 87 miles, but we each had to go in our own car because we didn't get along in the car too well. So people would say, you have two cars for Newport? Yeah.
Either that or a Gulfstream.
That's right.
Yes, Gulfstream. But a funny story was we were living together for 8 years, and he was just so much fun. And he was in finance. And we'd gone to a friend's wedding on the Cape. It was about an hour and a half away. And we were living together. And at the wedding, they said, this is Mr. and Mrs. Jones. And I thought, ooh, we could do that. And then on the way home, we stopped at an art gallery. And it was just a wonderful day. And when we got home, Richard said, I want to ask you something. And I thought, oh my God, he's thinking the same thing I am. I said, okay, what? He said, do you think we should buy that painting?
Oh.
So the next day we were at the beach, and I was looking around, and I said, well, I think this would be a nice romantic memory. And I said, Richard, what would you think about a wedding? And he said, first he told people that he was glad he had his sunglasses on so he couldn't see the shock.
The shock.
And he said,
I was waiting for tears. No, the shock.
he said, that's a great idea. I'm too old to be a boyfriend.
Oh,
So-
I like that.
Oh, I gotta remember that.
That's a good one. Are you
It's
too
a
old
goodie.
to be a girlfriend?
I
Great.
love to introduce him and say, this is Richard, my boyfriend. And I guess he would cringe.
It's really good.
And so we lived in Boston, had a great time. And then he retired, and I was always crazy for New York City. And his son had moved there, And I said, and he was renting, and I said, well, maybe we could find a place for Matthew, and then we could move there. And he said, well, why would we want to be there? And I said, well, it's New York. So, and he had been in finance in New York, and he wasn't great on New York City. But I talked him into it, and got a darling apartment for the kid. And he was working for Sotheby's. The second we got the place, he lost his job, and so all he did was errands all day, and it made me crazy. You know, like, get the kid out. I want to use it. And Richard did break the news to his son that he had to get out of the apartment, and we then we got a place in New York City, and that was my love affair with New York City. We were there for about 8 years. Richard retired, and we got this great place in New York City.
And then tell me how you ended up in Palm Beach, Suebelle.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Oh, I feel like New York City, like I do about Palm Beach. It's just instant fall in love. When I was 23, a boyfriend took me. He was a state representative, and he always talked about Palm Beach. So we came to Palm Beach, and we went to a museum. So I saw the history, all the, the robber barons of the, turn of the century, and then we went to this fabulous French restaurant, and then to the Colony Hotel. Well, all these old people were sitting at the bar. Nobody was fat. Nobody was unattractive. Everybody, all the ladies had makeup. And I said, I'm going to live here someday.
Oh, that's
These
great.
style queens find style queens, don't they?
And setting an intention.
That's
suits me.
That's true. You
And
make
you
things
did.
happen, don't
and
you?
how long have you been married for?
38 years.
Wow, that's wonderful.
He died 3 months ago.
And our
I'm
deepest
sorry to
condolences
hear that.
about that, Suebelle, because it's a very sad
I used to say,
time.
why can't he have a heart attack like everybody else? He was in a wheelchair, paralyzed. It was so sad. He was so precious.
Yes.
And he was always so sweet.
Yes, yeah.
But 1 year he said, and with my first husband, the chairman lived right next door to Mar-a-Lago, where Donald
really?
Trump lives.
Yes.
So I would get to go back to Palm Beach, and I could never get enough of it. And then I was married to Richard for about 10 years, and he said, oh, I make too much money. I don't have any deductions. And I said, what about a mortgage? And he said, what? I said, Palm Beach. And he said, well, we can't live there yet. I said, that's okay. I just wanted to get my foot in the door. Did I ever?
I think it was a Texan boot, actually.
You are, can I just say, you are Palm Beach. There are certain icons, and of anything of Palm Beach, you're it. And you are sort of
and
like
the Queen, as you
the
said.
Queen. And as Di,
thank you.
As Di said, it's
I
true.
think I'm a little too young to be a queen, but I've always wanted to be a queen.
Never.
But to do set
I think I'm
intentions.
just going to graduate to queen. That sounds great. But we bought this penthouse.
Woo.
And we saw about 4 or 5 things. And Richard said, you didn't like the penthouse? I said, I don't think we could afford it. And he said, oh, we could. So we rented it out. People said, you can't rent unfurnished. You can't rent year round. We rented year round, unfurnished, and it paid for itself. It was great.
Wow.
And meanwhile,
Back at the ranch.
I started
Back at the
buying
ranch.
little small apartments and decorating them. Nothing structural, just cosmetic. We have great estate sales here because people either die or they get divorced, and they have great furniture, and you can snap them up. And for instance, the first one at the Island House, it was part of an estate. It was $95,000, and sold it 2 years later for $480,000.
Fabulous.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And Di's a bit of a
Fabulous.
queen of real estate herself. So you've got
we've
an
got a
interest
business
in
in
that.
Palm Beach in Sydney.
That's right, in Palm Beach in Sydney. And Suebelle, have you ever been to Palm Beach in Sydney?
Have I ever
Been to Palm Beach in Sydney? Have you ever been to Australia?
Have you been to Palm Beach in Sydney, Australia?
Oh, never.
Well, we are actually giving you an invitation. We would absolutely,
Thank you.
we'd love
I
you.
love it.
And we've got a great, because you're the style queen too, and we've got a style queen. We're dressed in a fashion label, Camilla.
In your honour.
In your honour, because we thought we've got to get the hair done, get the dress on.
Yes.
Oprah loves Camilla.
Oprah loves Camilla, and she's absolutely beautiful. She's actually is, I think, in quite a few stores in the USA. But we'd like to gift you something as well. But if you haven't been to Australia, if you haven't got a Camilla, you'd look at for
No, I love her.
Well,
see, she knows
there you
Camilla,
go.
of course.
Great.
And look, to be honest with you, a lot of our girlfriends know you from Instagram, Suebelle. And, I mean, you're coming up to 500,000 followers. My God, I've been following you for weeks now, and I get either a giggle or I pick up a style secret. I mean, you know what I love most about you? I read where you said some of the feedback's great, some of it's mean, but the mean ones are hysterical. And I thought, great ego, like really healthy ego. Tell us about that and the Instagram experience.
About the ego?
No, about like mean comments, your experience of keeping it lighthearted.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll tell you.
Because you've just blown up.
89% are, they're just so sweet. People seem to love me. I'm just like, I'm not worthy. That's really how I feel. But there will be occasionally sort of a nasty comment. I just ignore it. What my favorite was, does your undertaker know you're walking around?
Oh!
I probably would
oh my
continue.
Goodness. You've got to laugh, don't
so
you?
Wonderful.
Oh, that is just so funny.
You know, there's a lot of people sitting on a couch who are very depressed and want to pull everyone else around them down rather than work on themselves.
Exactly. So, really, to us, you are such an inspiration.
And you're fun.
And tell us, so for our listeners out here, what is the secret, really, to have fun? Is it just the way you were born? Is it your mindset, Suebelle? Tell us the Suebelle secret.
I think to be positive, half empty, half full. Be a half full girl, and don't take yourself so seriously. And if you're going through a bad spell, it's not going to be forever. But the main thing I always tell my friends, you are enough. Just love yourself. You're terrific, and life happens. It can't be always wonderful, but if you try to stay positive, and every night I used to read my husband a story, and we do a couple prayers, like Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. It was so sweet, and it was not what do they say? Not the cards I would have dealt for myself, but I made it. He made it. He's in a better place. But I guess it's just being positive. Be cheerful. I always say, smile, and your brain will think it's happy.
Love that. We love that.
We love that too.
I love one of your lines also. You said, God said, leave the best till last, and he did. And that's such a healthy mindset around aging, because Nicola and I say it's a new beginning. We're now in our 60s. Tell us about that.
Well, it is a blood sport, so be ready.
Be ready.
Yeah. But the good news is if like your shoulder really hurts and you think, oh my God, I'm going to have my shoulder amputated, the next day it'll be fine, but something else will hurt, like your knee will hurt. So just accept that, it's not going to be easy. Try to get as much sleep as possible. That's really a big thing. I like to lay my clothes out the night before, so I don't have to, wonder what I'm going to wear. And then I sort of if I like what I picked out, then I sort of look forward to getting dressed the next day.
Well, you really are a style queen. And
we love it.
Tell us about, like, what's a day in a life for you, Suebelle? Like, tell us an average day, like your day of how you start your day, what you do.
Okay.
How long does it take you to do your hair?
As great girlfriends, and we have
so there you
coffee.
go. Coffee, yeah.
We all sit around, have coffee, and then do errands. And when and I don't like to stay in at night. So even when Richard was ill, I would say, well, let's meet for dinner at 5 o'clock or 4:30 if you don't mind, because I wanted to be home like at 7:30 so I could be with him. So these girls, they go to the gym and they walk around in their stupid gym clothes all day long. Go to the gym, come home, take a shower, put on a pretty dress, put on some makeup. I go crazy when I go to the grocery store and people look not very good. I mean, I love what they told you in the airlines.
I was saying touch up before you touch down. And I've always had the thing of a bit of grooming. Di had that even with your mother. As a mother of 8, would always have the lipstick on, wouldn't she? It's that simple thing.
Yes.
Even
sometimes.
in her apron pocket, she'd have the lipstick. Yeah.
Well, we've got ours here.
I have a friend, and she's young, and we were going to the movies. We didn't know each other that well. And she said, I knew I would like you when I saw you putting on lipstick in the movies.
I love
I always have a joke. My lipstick alarm goes off. You know.
Tell me, what is your lipstick too? The pink, because I wear pink lipstick every single
beautiful.
day. What's the frosty pink that you wear? What's the brand?
Well, it's not meant to be lipstick. I outline my lips.
They look good.
And I put on a darker pink, and then I put a frosty. And the frosty you're supposed to use as a highlighter, but not me. I use it on my
Of course
lips.
you bloody
There's
do.
the tip. I'm getting my frosty out now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to put the frosty on because we want as many Suebelle tips as we can.
Yeah, we want some. Can you throw us some style secrets, Suebelle?
Well, you know about teasing your hair.
Well, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to do a Suebelle hairstyle.
A bit more of a tease.
Yeah, teasing.
I've got a bit of the curls for you.
Spray the teasing and let it set. You know, like a cake has to bake. Well, your hair has to bake a little. And then instead of combing the teasing, you play with your hair a little bit.
Okay.
And then you spray it again.
And your colour is magnificent too, Suebelle.
Very Palm Beach.
You've got your colour just with the natural sort of silver and the dark. It's a really beautiful colour.
My stylist said she doesn't bleach it. That this is gray, and she just puts a color over it. So that's nice. It's not all broken.
You look gorgeous.
Wow. And then, so what do you do in the afternoon? Do you then go you have your coffee? So friendship's really important, and we always know that it's such a good tip in longevity and life is having friends.
Oh, so important.
It is.
Yeah.
I have like five friends, like my posse, I call them.
I love it.
Yes.
And we go out for like an early dinner, or we love to go to a movie and then go for dinner.
Well,
we have a problem here. We don't have any movie theaters in Palm Beach, so we have to make the trek. But with Netflix, I guess,
I'm sure you'd have some big home cinemas, though, wouldn't you, Suebelle? And you do interior design. You're a style queen in your home as well. So right now,
I love.
It looks good.
I've never done
filming
it
in your home.
professionally, but I know what I love. Yes. When I was in Boston, I used to go to the design center. I really wasn't supposed to, but I snuck in, and then I got very friendly with a man that was manager of one of the big fabric houses, and he got me accounts with all the fabric places, furniture places, and I remember he said, nobody knows what you do here, but they're very happy to see you.
Wow.
I would go from showroom to showroom, just say hi.
Your presence.
Yeah, it just shows that too, and I think that's no surprise also with you were saying, Di, with Instagram, how you've become so popular in a kind of relatively short period of time. And we've got a few little icons here, and we've got Miss Double Bay, and she's younger, and you're actually a poster girl for her. So I don't know if you can do a shout out and say hello to Miss Double Bay.
What's her name?
Miss Double Bay.
Not Double Pay, which they say Double
Double
Bay.
Bay?
Her name's Claudia, but Miss Double Bay.
No, Miss Double Bay.
Yes.
Oh, Double Bay?
Yeah, can you give a little shout out to her?
Hello, Double Bay.
She's going to love that.
I know you're adorable, and thank you so much for following me. It's really an honor.
I
Really.
love American Line that you're adorable,
Absolutely.
darling.
And you know what I also love is your shoes.
Yes,
You've got your own shoes, and they're gorgeous. Tell us about them.
Okay. It's sort of a Palm Beach store. It's called Stubbs and Wooten. And the man that started the company about 25 years ago, he's from Cuba, and he used to design shoes. And then he started his own company. And I went, and they had a picture in the store of him giving Pope John shoes.
Oh, really?
Oh, they look great. Look.
Always went there, and they were like,
So they're like slides, like mules.
Put them up a bit high.
Yeah.
That's it. We
Gorgeous.
can see
Love
that.
those. Yep.
Love that.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Pink.
The
lipstick
Suebelle
is a little
Bravo.
I can see the Suebelle
I
lipstick
think
next.
I'm going to see.
Can't you?
I hope they do them in fairly big sizes, Di. Because
Yeah,
actually,
we
you
want
and I,
them. We want a pair.
We're size American 40, aren't we? So
Something
we've
like
got
that.
to
Yeah,
order
I
some
understand. Yeah.
Palm Beach ones.
Now listen, Suebelle. Yeah, go on. Sorry,
What?
what was that?
with the shoes, they're great.
We love them. We love them.
So he's made
They're great.
shoes for you.
So pink, cream, a mule. You know what mules are?
Yes, I love mules.
Okay.
Stunning.
Khaki mules
Yeah.
and black velvet. And they make them for men and women.
Love them.
And the day after, I probably shouldn't say this, the day after Easter, they have a big sale. So people line up, buy Stubbs and Wooten.
Love that. That's your favorite store. Just quickly,
It is.
Suebelle, I love to entertain, as Nicola knows. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Pop the champagne.
I'd love to know from you if you could give us an example of one of your favorite parties that you've been to, A, and B, some entertaining tips, because my God, you would have been to some of the most lavish and incredible parties in your lifetime.
What makes a good party?
Oh, I have. They really, oh God, I went to one about 4 weeks ago. These two elegant, lovely gay men sent me a letter that, they're wild about me. They love following me. And one of them was having a 60th birthday party for his partner. And would I go? And it was at this Club Colette, which is a very elegant supper club. And so, yes, I went. I love to dress up. One of the fabulous perks about doing the Instagram is I've been given some pretty dresses, which I love. So I wore one of the pretty dresses, and just a beautiful dress. Bagley Mishka has given me some wonderful clothes. And there were about 30 couples, men and women, married couples. And then the rest were gay men, and they all wore black tie or white dinner jackets. So elegant. Everybody was so handsome. There were about 170 people. They had six guys, a black band, and a black singer who was fabulous. And we all danced. We danced all night. And at the end, the one man that was having the party thanked everybody. And he said, and I want to especially thank my special guest, Suebelle Robbins.
Bravo. Wow. We love that.
That was so fun. It was really great.
So what sort of food did they serve, for example? Like, like what sort of alcohol do they do? Cocktails? Do they do champagne? Like
Prosecco.
Prosecco's the go.
White wine. Absolutely champagne.
Big, well, we love the champagne, and we can't wait. Well, if you're not going to come out, the invitation is to come out to Palm Beach in Australia. But if not, we want to come out to see you, and we'd love that. And tell us, what should we do? Because we're going to come straight to see you, Suebelle.
Like the Suebelle tour.
What would you do? What would you do? Because we're on our way with our Camillas.
You got to go. It's so beautiful. Everything is so manicured. There's a beautiful hotel called the Breakers. There are 4 or 5 wonderful, the Colony Hotel, wonderful hotels where you can just go and sit and watch people watch or have lunch or go home and change and go out to dinner. We have beautiful restaurants, but there are golf courses all over. Everybody has a swimming pool. The dresses are getting very short or very long and very low. It's a great
more
people
flesh
watching.
than fabric.
And you've got a beautiful suntan. And I guess it's warm and sunny in Palm Beach, and we're all lucky to have that. And we've sort of saying how the importance of friendship and community. Di and I have been best friends for 40 years, and we actually share a back fence. And so what about with your close friends? Have you got you're saying you've got 5, a posse of friends.
Yeah, she was.
Is there a standout friend that you've got, Suebelle?
Oh, they're wonderful. They were talking about doing a television Lifetime show with me. And they interviewed all the posse girls, and we were going to go to Paris, and that sort of fell through, sadly. But the woman that interviewed them said, I was so fortunate to have such loyal and devoted friends, and that's what it's all about.
They say also that it's important for your health too, to have connection.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I would love to have a dog, but I used to have a brown and a white standard poodle, and I didn't shave them. I had them like sheep, and I'd love to have a dog, but it's so much responsibility. Did the dog wear lipstick?
And had high hair.
I've got a big dog the size of a pony.
What was that?
Life really is chapters.
Chapters. So true.
Yeah. Any life sort of Suebelle tips, wisdom that you could share with us, Suebelle? Any sort of words of wisdom from your life experience?
Because you're such an inspiration. You really are.
Yeah.
Don't take yourself so seriously, and if you're depressed, pick up the phone and call somebody and say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
If you think, what did my husband used to say? If you think less of yourself, you'll think more of yourself. It's like, reach out. It's not all about you. Although I heard somebody say, I know I'm not much, but it's all I can think about. I try to say.
Oh, that is so funny. Now, can you confirm or deny? Were you caught kissing Ronald Reagan back in the day?
I read that.
Oh, I loved him.
No doubt.
A little smoochy poochie.
It was a great movie.
Good kisser.
On Netflix about Ronnie. It's great. But when my first husband was in the newspaper, everybody wants to be in the newspaper, so we would be invited to the White House. And we went at Christmas, and it was so elegant. And President Reagan said his father had come home one Christmas Eve, and he had lost his job. And it was a very sad Christmas for his family. And he said, and I know it's going to be a very sad Christmas for some of the people in the country. And he was just adorable. And Nancy was just like beaming at him. So after he walked away, one of our board members, this 70-year-old fat banker, was chewing on his ear. And I pushed the guy away and I said, "Oh, you can meet an old Republican banker any day. I think you're adorable." And I hugged him.
I love that. Go. Seriously.
You know what? I think
I love that.
That's a life lesson in itself.
Yeah,
You sort of then have to have the confidence there, and
love it.
don't worry, as you sort of say, what anyone else thinks. And if you want to
I
kiss
had
someone,
the invitation. I had the invitation from the White House framed.
And coming back to what Nicola just said about not worrying about what other people think, let me ask you a question. Has anyone ever asked you, "Oh, have you had any work done on your face?" And if they have, what have you answered?
Of course I have.
gosh, who doesn't?
This little bitch of a girl, I knew she was always jealous of me. She used to live where I used to live, and now I was in Palm Beach. She said, "I saw Suebelle. I hardly recognized her. She's had so much work."
Yeah.
And, consider the source. I'm a big believer in, if I have a good surgeon, I want to, if somebody asks me about their eyes, I'll say, "Yeah, they are a little baggy. You should call Dr. so-and-so." Why not? I mean, it's a simple thing.
Yeah.
And I always say, work or plastic surgery is like a piece of jewelry that you never have to take off.
Oh,
Have you ever heard that?
no,
That's a
I
goodie.
like that one.
That's a goodie.
I like that one.
But I also think I read that you said someone said something about having work done, and you said, "Well, what do you think?" And I thought it was just a great response, because you know what?
Well, you
own
own
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, utterly, completely.
And I tell you what,
Yeah.
you see some good plastic surgeons because you look magnificent. You
do.
really do. You are a poster girl.
You and Jane Fonda.
And actually, yeah. Do you know Jane Fonda?
Not crazy about her.
Well, she's coming out to
I
Australia.
always had that during Vietnam, when she was, sided with the other side.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so many guys my age, maybe a little bit older, all died in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was sort of like a treason what she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But I like her as an actress.
Yeah,
She's
no,
great.
she's brilliant.
And I guess
Absolutely.
as a woman like yourself too, she's aging beautifully, and she's certainly got some spunk in it. But she's
Great
coming out to
attitude.
Australia, and we certainly hope that you do. And
I spent a couple weekends with her then husband, Ted Turner.
Right.
And that was a trip.
Did you kiss him?
yeah, is he a good kisser?
He was crazy. So I felt sorry for him that she ended up with him. But
Oh,
Yes.
We like a bit of crazy.
Exactly.
Okay.
the compliment I used to get and I loved was that I looked like Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yes,
And
that's
I was
true. You do.
watching
Oh.
That's
night show.
Darling, I
true.
love
They
you,
were
but
so
give me
cool.
Park
Yeah.
Avenue.
And tell me, and who
I love
are
it.
your role models, Suebelle?
Oh, I love Babe Paley. You probably don't know who that is.
No.
She was so elegant. There's a Netflix show called The Swans, Truman Capote and his Swans.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all the society ladies from the 60s. And they were beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
well-groomed, lovely manners, bad husbands often. But let's see. I can't think of anybody I'm really crazy about. Love Candice Bergen, Audrey Hepburn,
Yes.
Princess Diana,
Yeah.
Jackie Kennedy. Those were my, when I was growing up, I was crazy about Jackie Kennedy.
You're certainly a role model for so many people globally, Suebelle.
Yeah.
So
Guys, follow her on Instagram because it's actually a great journey.
Oh.
Like, honestly,
You're
it's
entertaining.
out there.
You're great to
Fun.
look at, and we are thrilled that the Palm Beach Queens kind of unite.
Well, you are adorable. I love talking to you. The question
we can't wait to meet you.
She said up front, Suebelle went, you don't really sound Australian. And I went, yeah, mate, you'll be right.
G'day.
Ah, that's more like it.
I think my favorite author is Australian.
Oh.
She did the Netflix show with.
Leanne Moriarty.
I was wondering if it was
Leanne?
Leanne Moriarty. We're going to try.
Leanne Moriarty?
We're going to have her on the podcast. Yeah, she's brilliant.
Could
Yeah.
be.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Would that be Leanne
But
Moriarty?
which one would it be? Which one on the Netflix movie, though?
Nine Perfect
Big Little
Strangers.
Lies, Nine
No,
Perfect
one after Nine Perfect Strangers.
Strangers.
Another
Apple
one.
Fall from the whatever.
Yes, yeah. There's quite a few
There's
of
a
the
lot.
ones.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's actually, I love the way she writes.
Fabulous. She has. I listen to books. I don't read.
Yeah.
I listen to
Yeah.
them. When you're doing your hair or folding laundry, it's great. Or trying to go to sleep.
She folds laundry, Nicola.
Gee.
And but she has these great Australian audio books, and I love the Australian accent. It's so
We'll have to have it up a bit more.
I love the American accent because I actually lived in America for 4 years, Suebelle, a long time ago, and I did visit Palm Beach in the 80s, and I was.
You did?
Yeah, my sister was a designer, and I was representing her range, and I took it down to Palm Beach, and honestly, I met some of the most amazing people in the boutiques there, like. I'd just sit and they'd bring me a glass of champagne. And I'd I'm not leaving.
No, well, we're going to visit.
Oh, hold
that
on,
is
I'm here
for
to sell
sure.
something, right? So, yeah, very friendly and beautiful. I adore Americans, and I always will. They were so kind and hospitable to
Yeah,
me.
the same.
Yeah, we're going to ask you some of our signature questions, Suebelle. One of them being...
Well, I'd like to know if you could give advice to your 20-year-old self, Suebelle, what would you say?
That was a great
stop
sigh.
worrying. Stop worrying. You know, the things somebody told me once, the things you worry about never happen. And that's so true. And you spend so much time. It's all a fear thing. You know, am I going to get picked? Am I good enough? I mean, I'm so stupid. I remember being in like 8th grade, and there was this little short girl, and she was really popular. And I remember standing by her, and I would scrunch down so I'd look shorter, you know, because I wanted to be accepted. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. And that's one of the few nice things, besides Medicare, about aging is you have the wisdom. You know, you know that you take things much easier. You know, it's. I was going to say,
Thank you for
every
sharing
bad
that. I
day,
think
you're going to
that's
get
really
two
great
good
to
ones.
hear because I think we always sort of need reminders of that
Very
too.
much so.
Because you can get caught in the mud of something and take it so seriously, and you think, well, look, hey, how long are we here for? And you know, to be kind and be a good person, and for you saying
I think
that
wisdom is also about giving
wisdom.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. That's beautiful balance of life.
is
I
beautiful.
love
Wisdom.
that. That's great, Suebelle.
Daddy,
Yes.
do. A question
our
from
last
you.
question,
A couple more, I think.
Suebelle, why not? If you had the opportunity of meeting someone over the back fence, who would that be and why?
Oh, I think Brad Pitt because he's so darling and he has lovely manners.
I love it.
And I don't think he's gotten a great deal. I think he's been maligned, and I think he's a lovely man. And I'd be happy having a little coffee over the back fence every day with
I think
Brad.
we'd like to join you too, Sue
And,
Bell.
You know
and we
anybody
have a
that can tell
girlfriend
him?
that would too. Helen
Helen
would join
Warren's
us.
go crazy for him. That's great. And one more.
So I have competition.
Exactly.
We've got one more lucky last question for you. We never want to let you go because
No.
we adore you. But what?
Oh, you're so
Oh, we
sweet.
really do, Sue Bell. What makes you happy?
A great dinner, a great outfit, a great conversation, a great DM from my fans when they tell me how much, like, you've changed my life. You made my vacation. You won't believe. the sweet things that people say to me. I just feel so blessed. And, you know, I broke my wrist once, and I was at the country club for a buffet, and I'd broken my wrist that day. I was in such a sad state. And George Hamilton was next to me, and I said, "Oh, I just thought you were so great, and I voted for you on Dancing with the Stars." And he just said, "Hi, Mary, how are you?" Totally ignored me.
Oh.
And I hate to carry a grudge. That was only 20 years ago. But I go out of my way to be sweet to fans.
Yeah, good
because
girl.
it takes so little to thank somebody.
Well, that's amazing.
And you know something else that I believe that needs to be brought to the fore, because we've learned a lot about you, Suebelle, but ultimately you do a lot for charity, and life's also about giving back, isn't it? You know,
yeah.
really important.
Yeah. And you give back
Yeah.
every day by being you.
Well, I'm a big support system, and I spend so much time answering a text that they'll say, "Do you know so-and-so?" And you have to stop, and you send them a message, and you give them the information they need. It takes time, but I'd rather do that. I mean, it makes me feel, that's why I'm here, to help people, to make them feel good about themselves. And because they make me feel good about myself. Who doesn't want to hear that they think you're pretty?
Oh.
I was so insecure. I used to keep a little journal, and whenever anybody would give me a nice compliment, I'd put it in the journal. So whenever I was down or depressed, I would read this little journal. Now I get, you wouldn't believe it, how many a day? Lots and lots. I don't need to have a little journal anymore. I have the sweet people on Instagram. It's just
Well,
such a
thank you
gift.
so much, and we want
Thanks,
to thank you
Suebelle.
from the back fence of Palm Beach, Sydney, Australia, from all our listeners. We are absolutely thrilled. From Miss Double Bay, from Camilla,
yeah.
there's so many people
You name
here,
it, yeah.
and we can't wait for you to come out to Australia, and we're going to do a trip to see you.
Yeah, I want to get back there.
But you,
actually.
come
yeah,
here.
we'd love that.
I
We'd
love Florida.
absolutely love it. We're going to go shopping. I want to get some Suebelle shoes.
I want to
that's for
actually,
sure.
I've never been to Miami. I want to go to Miami too.
I want to do that, but the Palm Beach is where it's at, because that's where Suebelle is, and you really
we're
are
coming.
an
We're coming to
inspiration.
America. We're coming to
So,
US of A.
Thank you, America. Thank you, Suebelle. We know we're really honoured, and for all our listeners, don't forget to rate and review, share this podcast. We are thrilled. The Palm Beach ones, write in, tell us who else loves Suebelle and what else there is. If there's any other questions,
Yeah.
we've got a hotline because
follow her on Instagram.
We've become friends, and that's sort of what life's about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what? We like sort of 5-star ratings, Suebelle. And now Di has her own rating system, don't you? Di likes to rate her own guests.
You know
now
what?
we've got the Queen
I'm not
of
even going
Palm
to rate
Beach.
it. I'm not even going to rate it. I'm going to say just make it high because she makes me feel high. Everything's high. Her life's high. Her hair's
I
high.
agree. You are
Rate
an
high.
instant
That'll
high.
do it today.
You're positive. You're glamorous. You're gorgeous. You've got
Yeah,
a
we
big
love you.
heart, and you're an
Glamorous.
inspiration. Glamorous.
I think you guys love each other.
We do.
We're
Very
besties.
lucky.
We do.
We love
so
you.
lovely to touch
I think
base.
you have a lot of fun.
We
do.
almost too much sometimes.
Never too much.
We're-
I don't think there's such
You got to be a bit not. What did someone say recently? They said every week just be a little bit outrageous.
Yeah. And that's why we love you.
Why not?
Yes.
Why not?
Exactly. I'm with you,
Absolutely.
babe. Lovely to meet you, Suebelle.
And look out for the post. There'll be something coming from us to you.
Yay.
With love.
Oh, how exciting. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
I
Bye.
love
Thank you again.
You're
Mwah.
lovely. Thank
Say
you so
hi.
much. Bye-bye.